Hello, now we are now on the lecture of our module 2, which is colloids. Its types, properties, and classifications. And pag-uusapan din natin yung isa niyang application mamaya later on this presentation. And by the way guys, meron akong module handout na ibibigay. So, kayo na lang bahala doon na magbasa. And may sagot doon para makita niyo tama ba yung sagot niyo sa may freedom niyo. So, let's start on our discussion. What is a colloid? Okay, colloid represent an intermediate kind of mixture in which solute particles or dispersed space are suspended in the solid, that is the solvent phase of dispersing medium. So, kung i-analogy ko siya sa may solution, ang kwan natin dito, ang dispersed phase natin dito is the solute, while the solvent is a dispersing medium. So, colloids ang term natin doon, instead doon sa may solution yan. So, ano ba ang mga types of colloids natin? Here are the types of colloids natin. Noong saan ito yung mga dispersed phase or mga solutes natin in the solution and the dispersing medium or the solvent in analogous to solution. Now, kapag nag-combine ito ang common name niya, which is solid to solid, solid-sol, liquid to solid, solid emulsion, gas in solid, that is solid foam, and here are the typical examples of the colloids when you mix a solid to solid and etc. So ano ba ang mga approximation size ng mga particles natin? What differs colloid in solution? Ano bang pinagkaiba ng colloid dun sa may solutions natin? Okay, ito lang naman yon. So dito sa may mixture natin, we have three types of mixture such as suspension, colloidal dispersion, and solution. Now, ang typical example ng ating suspension, guys, is the sand in water. Kasi nga, ang particle size ng sand natin larger than 10,000 angstrom. So, therefore, bababa lamang siya dito. Samantalang sa may colloidal dispersion naman, ang typical example nun is water, starch in water, which has a size of 10 to 10,000 angstrom. And solution naman natin, which is sugar in water, which is 1 to 10 angstrom. So, ang typical example nito guys ay ganito lamang. Let's say, for example, ang suspension natin is, kunwari, here, meron tayong baso, and meron tayong andito, kunwari, ang solvent natin ay tubig. So, ang suspension natin is, magsesettle siya dito sa may baba. Nandito lang siya. Although meron magdi-disperse dito, yan yung mga colloids natin, kaya nga madumi yung tubig natin. Which is, yan yung mga particles natin na has a size of 10 to 10,000 angstrom. Ito yung suspension natin. Bababa siya doon sa may baso natin. While the colloids naman, guys, is meron tayong tubig dito sa may starch in water, na-disperse siya doon sa may solution natin. And ang difference ito is nakikita din natin siya. This one here is a colloids. Colloids natin. Colloids. Now, sa solution naman, guys, is hindi ninyo totally makikita yung particles natin kasi masyado siyang maliit. Just like the typical example that I discussed earlier, ito ay solution, hindi ninyo makikita yung mga particles na dissolved doon sa may solvent natin. So that's the difference between suspension, colloids, and solutions here. Mabalik tayo. So ayan. And what differentiates? Paano ba natin malalaman kung halimbawang parehas na clear yung solution natin, yung dalawang baso natin? Paano ba natin ma-differentiate doon kung saan yung solution and saan doon yung colloid? Is meron tayong ditong term na Tyndall effect, which it is the scattering of light, just like refer to the photo below, that distinguish between that is actually a colloid and true solution. So, paano bang nangyari dyan? Ito yung solution natin, since maliit lang yung mga particles niya, magpapass through lamang siya dun sa may bote. While the colloids here, magkakaroon tayo ng scattering of light or Tyndall effect na kaya siya nagka-on doon. Kaya siya umilaw doon. So, ano ba nangyayari doon between here? Now, dito sa may light natin, another here example, let's say ito yung baso kanina and yung colloids natin is na-disperse dito sa may on natin. Now, kapag yung light natin is nag-pass through dito, ayan, kung mapapansin niyo as earlier, ganyan, magkakaroon ng scattering. So may ilaw na magaganap. At in molecular level, ganito yung nangyayari sa kanya. Let's say this is the colloid and na-hit, ito yung light beam natin. This one is the light. This one is the light. Here, ang mangyayari dito is i-scatter niya yung light natin at all directions. Kaya tayo nagkakaroon ng Tyndall effect. So ganyan yung nangyayari at molecular level dito sa may Tyndall effect natin. So ganito yung nangyayari dyan. So next time, di ba, ayan din, may nakikita kayong ano ng term dyan. Naalimutan ko na rin, basta kapag kwan. Para sa akin kasi yan ay kwan. That is, hindi, nakalimutan ko na yung term, sorry. Yan ay yung light niya, yung alikabok. Piling ko alikabok yun eh. Ini-scatter ng alikabok yung light, kaya nagkakaroon ng Tyndall effect. Na makikita natin usually sa may mga puno natin. Ayan, nakakita naman na kayo ng ganyan eh. So, I assume na ganyan. So another one thing, the properties of the colloids here, properties of the colloid is the Tyndall effect. The second property is its adsorption phenomenon. So what is the adsorption phenomenon? Now the colloids are created kasi is meron tayong nagke-create siya ng electrical double layer. So consider this ferric oxide. The ferric oxide here is a typical example of colloid dissolved in water. Now, ano ba nangyayari doon? So, how does the colloid, paano ba siya nag-perform? Ang nangyayari kasi dito is, let's say we have this ferric oxide dissolved in water. Yung mga positively charged, siyempre, di ba, water, mag-create, when the ferric oxide dissolved in water, it will create the ions in the solution which will dissolve. Now, magkakaroon ng absorption and formation of particles, which is this one is hydrated ferric oxide. Now, the spectator ions here, i-attract nga yung mga positive. And then here, at molecular level, ganito itsura. Now, the positive, using the concept of opposite attracts, like the magnet analogy, is i-attract naman niya yung mga negative. So, therefore, yaan yung nagsiseparate sa mga colloids natin. The electrical double layer property which separates them that repel to each other, kaya nagkakaroon tayo ng dispersion doon sa may dispersing medium natin. So, ayan, that is typical example of the absorption phenomenon of the colloids na in-experiment ninyo para mawala yung precipitate dun sa may demo ay kaya gano'n. So, ito yung classification ng colloids natin. There are two classification of colloids, such as the hydrophilic, the water-loving colloids, and the hydrophobic colloids, based on the surface characteristics of the dispersed phase. So, nakadepende tayo doon sa may surface ng dispersed phase natin, which is kung sa may solution natin, is yung solute. So, ano ba yung hydrophilic natin? This one is water-loving colloids, and the hydrophobic is the water-hating colloids. From the word hydrophilic and hydrophobic. So, ano ba ang typical example ng ating hydrophilic colloids? Ang typical example nito is the protein. Sir, bakit po protein and macromolecules po yun? Sir, how does it classified as hydrophilic colloids? Kasi nga yung proteins natin, dun sa may surface ng proteins natin, guys, is meron tayong, di ba, yung common structure ng protein natin is meron tayong C, and C, double bond O here, and C, ito yung structure ng natin, ng protein natin, C and NH2 at isoelectric point. At isoelectric point here and dalawang lone pairs dito, meron tayong the R group which differentiates them from the amino acids. So ayan. So this one here is the typical example of an amino acid. Di ba proteins are made up of amino acids? Now dun sa may surface niya is ganito kasi itsura. Now kung mapapansin ninyo, meron tayong mga hydrogen dito. Now, pinag-aralan ninyo ito sa may organic chemistry ninyo, sa may intermolecular forces, the type of natin, which is the hydrogen bonding. Kapag kasi ito is minix mo sa may water, mag-exhibit siya ng hydrogen bonding with HH. So, there are 4 sites of hydrogen bonding here. And when you place a water molecules here, syempre, di ba? This one is partially positive, this one is partially positive, this one is partially negative, magkakaroon ng interaction between the water here. And kapag nandito naman tayo, guys, is, ayan, O here, and then there, partially positive. This one is partially negative, partially negative. So mag-interact yung surface ng proteins natin doon sa may water natin. Kaya siya classified as hydrophilic colloids due to its capabilities na maipag-hydrogen bonding doon sa may water natin. Okay, nabalik tayo. The other one is the hydrophilic colloids or water-heating matter. Now, consider this sodium stearate na may amphipathic property. What is amphipathic property? Amphipathic property is also known as exhibits both polar character and non-polar character. So, which one here, sa may sodium stearate natin, meron siyang polar head and non-polar head, which is the hydrocarbon tail. Eh sir, bakit niyo po nasabi na hydrophobic po itong colloids na ito, samantalang meron naman po siyang polar property na kung saan nag-i-interact sa may water and soluble pa po siya. Tapos meron pa siyang two sides of hydrogen bonding here. So how's that even possible? Guys, ang answer doon is that mas dominant kasi yung non-polar character ng ating sodium stearate molecule here as compared to the polar head. So therefore, this one is hydrophobic colloids. Na kung saan sa may protein natin, in every surface niya, there is a site of hydrogen bonding which exhibits dun nga sa dominant, kaya siya ay nagiging hydrophobic. Now, paano ba ito mangyayari? So, ganyan. And when of these two here, kapag itong mga sodium stearate na to is nag-form, they will form a micelle. Micelle, yung pinalalaki sa gym. Micelle. Charot. O sige. Now dito, sa may kwan natin, is, for example, you have a non-polar oil, may kapag-interaction na, which we'll discuss later. And by the way, micelle, guys, ang purpose ng micelle natin is to decrease the surface tension of the water, which can form a bubbles. Here, for example, the droplets, the hydrophobic tail will interact to the oil droplet. Now, next. So as discussed earlier, dun nga sa may palmolive natin, I'm not advertising guys here, is it will act as an surfactant that will emulsify the water. For example, meron tayong sulfur powder, nilagay nyo dito, and then here are the water. So hindi siya lumulubog kasi nga dahil dun sa may strong surface tension ng water. Now, kahit ilagay nyo siya dyan, although magmi-mix naman siya, pero pag ilagay nyo lang, huwag nyo i-mix, nandun lang siya sa may ibabaw. Na kapag nag-pour kayo ng emulsifier natin, which is itong soap natin, it will decrease the surface tension of water, which is the force on the surface of water. So mawawala siya. Therefore, lulubog yung ating sulfur. And that is the purpose of every micelle in the solution. So, punta na tayo sa may applications niya, which is the micelle, yung mga application natin. So, how soap transport debris? Oh, interesting. By the way, this lecture ay from Ryan Kidney from Daret Dao in the University of Akron. So, ang pinakabida sa may micelles natin is the soap natin. So, bigyan lang natin ng history overview ang soap natin. So, ang soap daw is the first chemical compound that ever synthesized by man. Yan daw yung unang synthesized ng tao noong 2800 BC and 1515 BC. Now, dun sa may 2800 BC kasi, excavations reveal Babylonians were making soap by boiling animal fat with ashes. Animal fat and ashes. So, how's that even possible? I-discuss ko yun mamaya. And siya daw ay ginagamit para panglinis ng wool and cotton in textile making and for medicinal purposes, which is panghugas nga ng kamay natin to eliminate the bacteria in our hands and our skins. And then, noong 1515 BC daw, Egyptian writing reveals soap made by mixing animals and vegetable oil in order to form with base alkaline salts in order to form a salt. Egyptian medical scrolls recommended a soap for skin conditions. So, ayun, panghugas nga siya. So, how's that even possible? Abo, tsaka animal fat. Yung asing fat natin is composed of triglyceride. You all know that. It's a lipids. Fat natin is triglyceride. Now, doon kasi sa may abo natin is meron tayong mga inorganic components. Ito, such as the sodium hydroxide. Now, I do not know what type of ashes na ginagamit nila doon in order to extract a sodium hydroxide from there. Now, pag mixin nyo itong dalawang ito through cold or hot process na ginawa ninyo sa may organic chemistry ninyo, kung ginawa nyo naman, makakapag-form kayo ng soap, which is the sodium stearate, as stated earlier, and some glycerol. So, it is a saponification process. Fat plus base equals soap. So, saponification process from your organic chemistry. So, ayun. Na-discuss ko na rin. So, ano bang reaction ang nangyayari between sa may soap and sa may fat natin in the lye? Ang nangyayari kasi doon is saponification process, by which the considered glyceryl tripalmitate, minix niyo sa may sodium hydroxide, magpo-form tayo ng sodium palmitate, by which the sodium palmitate is the amphipathic molecule present in the soap that can form a micelle na pwede nating panglinis sa ating mga kamay at sa ating mga katawan. So it is a saponification process. And amphoteric, guys, means one half of hydrophilic and one half. Guys, this one here is not amphoteric actually, but rather amphiphilic. Sorry for that term here. It's rather amphiphilic. Amphiphilic yung ilagay niyo. Now, ano ba yung mga soap molecules natin? Okay. Doon sa may soap molecules kasi natin is, as discussed earlier, meron siyang hydrophilic head na dumidikit doon sa may tubig natin or nagpag-interact. Samantalang yung hydrophobic tail natin, siya yung sumusundo doon sa may oil natin, siya nakipag-interact. And then, papaligiran nila yung mga yun in order to form a micelle na kapag hinugasan ninyo sa may tubig natin, ay maalis na siya. So, ganito ay nangyari yun. Ayan. Soap micelle. Soap molecules act like a diplomat, improving the relationship between water and oil. When soap is added to the water, the hydrophilic heads of its molecule stay in the water. They are attracting the water. The long hydrophobic, which is the nonpolar part, the oil particles remain here. Ba't ba ganun? Wala siya. Sorry guys, edit ko na lang ako. Will remain escaping from the water. So this behavior is also known as the micelle formation kasi magkakaroon siya ng lipid bilayer interaction na makikita ninyo dito sa may experiment natin. So ayan, the hydrophobic will interact to each other and then the hydrophilic core will interact to the water. So the typical reaction mechanism ng soap formation natin is this. So battery low na ako. I post ko saglit and I'll be back. Okay, let's continue. Now, tignan niyo ito. How soap works video. Don't worry guys, meron naman akong link dito. Sumiko natin. Kapag kinlik nyo naman yung PDF file, is i-click itong soap video na so makapanood nyo siya. So, kunwari ito, isa-summarize ko na lang dito, is ito. Kapag soap molecule, nilagyan nyo siya, ito yung dirt natin. The hydrophobic will interact to the oil and the hydrophilic will interact to the water. So therefore, ganito yung magkakaroon sa kanya. They will form a micelle na kung saan kapag tinapon mo yung tubig is sasama na nga yung oil natin. And the same din kapag naghuhugas tayo ng kamay. So next time kapag naghugas kayo ng kamay, micelle formation. Yeah, okay. Malis ko yung mga dirt. So mga ganun-ganun bagay ba? It's micelle formation. Ganun din kapag nag-uurong ay tsaka naglalaban. It is a micelle formation. Now ngayon, kunwari, gusto kong gumawa ng micelle. So, ang gawin nyo lang dito is, paghaluin nyo yung dirt, tapos yung tubig, syempre magkakaroon ng suspension doon. Tapos, unari dirt. Hindi naman necessarily buhangin. Basta hindi, mamaya ako na-discuss yun. Okay. So, next naman natin is, ayan. So, gano'n lang din nangyari kanina. This one here is just the molecular viewpoint of this one here. So, na-discuss ko naman na yan. And kapag mineasure na daw yung size ng olives natin is 50 to 100 nanometer in size. So ayan, this one is in the effect. Kapag tinapatan niya siya, is magkakaroon tayo ng scattering of light that will occur in a colloidal solution. And then here, white just can water here, clean everything. Bakit tayo gumagamit ng soap? Kasi nga, unang-una, as I stated earlier, surface tension keeps water from easily spreading across the surface. Now, in order to decrease the surface tension, mag-a-add ka ng surfactant or emulsifier in order to clean the dirt. And kapag nangyari yun, surfactants inhibits the intermolecular attraction between water molecules, and this attraction is what causes strong surface tension in water. Now, the soap will allow the water, which allows the spread of the oily surface to collect grime and to be washed away. So, ito yung mga typical link na naman. So, ito, Sinabi ko na nga kanina, kapag naglalaba kayo, kunwari, maglalaba kayo sa may boarding house nyo. Oy, pre, tara gumawa ng micelle. Ha, pre, ano ba yung micelle na yun? Pre, yun yung pagtanggal ng dirt sa may kwan kapag nag-mix yung soap tsaka yung dirt. Ah, micelle pala yun. Oo, o di, kunwari, nakapagpanlaw na kayo. So, kapag nagkwan, di ba, discuss natin kanina, kapag nakapagpanlaw na kayo, naipapansin nyo, yung mga particles doon is parang in a random motion manner, nagpo-flow doon. Ang tawag doon is Brownian motion. So, 3 concepts lang ang apply nyo agad. Naglaba lang kayo. 3 concepts na agad. So, micelle formation and some sort of breaking the surface tension and the rapid movement or the random movement of the particles in the dispersing medium is called Brownian motion. So, 3 concepts agad yun. Naglaba agad kayo. So, ganito ngayon ang nangyari kapag naglaba kayo. Here is the dirt, the soap molecules, and then, ang mangyayari dito, magkakaroon ng micelle formation. Kapag nagbanlaw kayo, matatanggal yung dirt within the micelle. And kapag kinuha nyo na yan, may iwan sa tubig yung mga dirt, and yun na, malinis na ang damit ninyo. So, ganun ang mga mangyayari. Okay, so water hardness. Another concept of the micelle formation that inhibits the kwan natin, nag-inhibits doon sa ating pag-form ng micelle is also known as the water hardness. Ha, tumitigas pala yung tubig. No, that's the term itself doon sa may chemistry natin. Water hardness kasi refers to the amount of the dissolved calcium or calcium in the water. Yan yung nagkokos ng ating panating. Ayan. Ayan nga, ini-inhibits niya yung micelle formation. Kaya uminsan kapag naliligo daw kayo, is napapansin ninyo na hindi bumubula yung sabon, nag-precipitate lang siya. Ang ibig sabihin lang nun guys is maraming calcium ions doon sa may tubig ninyo. And that's what causes doon sa ating mga panatin. Sa mga pangit na ganito natin, ang tawag dyan is the formation of the calcium carbonate ions. Yan din yung cause kung bakit doon sa may mainit na tubig ninyo is merong tumitigas na tubig. Kasi nga, yung water ninyo is hindi naman siya distilled water. Kapag kunyo ni tap water na yun, is meron siya mga dissolved ions. Ngayon yung mga matitigas doon sa may thermos ninyo is yun yung calcium carbonate. So kaya ganun ang nangyayari. And ang industrial applications ng micelle natin is mainly in the nanotechnology. Nanotechnology which involves the drug delivery or also known as the nanocapsule na kung saan magkaaroon siya ng self-assembly micelle. Pag duduktukin niya yan, yung drug molecules natin, i-insert niya doon sa may loob ng micelle para mas magkaroon, para mas maging efficient yung drug delivery ng gamot na ito doon sa may katawan natin. So another one here, hindi lang naman sa may nanotechnology ang application ng mga micelles natin, but rather doon din sa may mga cleaning products natin na kung saan nag-i-improve sila ng mga formula natin para mas maging efficient yung micelle formation, na kung saan pwedeng maging mas malinis ang ating damit, ang ating paglilinis ng ating mga plato, at saka ng ating body wash ba to? Liquid soap. Di kasi ako gumagamit yan eh. So, mga ganun. Ayan guys, disclaimer lang, hindi po ako nag-advertise. This is just a typical example kung ano ba ang mga applications ng ating mga polymer micelle. And ayan, so described in chemistry terms, diniscuss ko naman yan kanina, and these are the references ng mga inuha ko sa may internet para mas maintindihan ninyo kung saan ba nanggaling source ko. And that ends my discussion for today. Thank you for listening guys and have a nice day.